Hey guys, TMax here. I lived in Brazil for almost 2 years and I visited every state and every capital, plus many other places. Yet, before I left, there were still some places that I didn't get to. Can you guess which ones they are? Leave a comment below, let me know which places you think.
Subscribe, like, share, and comment now. Raise the roof, let's show 'em how. Spread the love, let it go worldwide.
So, here's my top 10 list of places that I didn't get to visit while in Brazil, but will visit next time I go. Number 10 is Maragogi in Alagoas. The reason I didn't go there was because getting there transportation-wise was very difficult. There's no bus that goes there and I couldn't find anybody at my hostel that was going, so I ended up skipping it. Balneario in Santa Catarina. When I was in Gramado visiting my friend Jackie, she was ranting and raving about this place and I didn't have enough time while I was there for us to go together, and also it wasn't the right season. So she's like, you have to put this on your list. Pirenópolis, Goiás. So I went to Goiânia, which is the capital of Goiás, and you'll notice of all the states that I visited in Brazil, Goiás is the only state where I don't have a vlog because there was nothing going on there. I was there a whole week and it was just dead. And I learned later that the best place to go to would be Pirenópolis. It has a good combination of history and culture, so it's now on the list. Pantanal in Mato Grosso do Sul. So a week before, I was in Bonito in Mato Grosso do Sul, and it was a lot more expensive than I was planning it for it to be. I had a great time. I did everything that I wanted to do, but then by the time I got to Pantanal, seeing the prices there were even higher than Bonito, I was like, okay, I might have to take a rain check on this one. So I'll see the Jaguars next time I'm in Brazil. Chapada dos Veadeiros in Goiás. So when I was in Belo Horizonte, I met this guy from Brasilia. He said, yeah, if you come up, we can hang out and I have a van. I'll drive us up to do some hiking and all that. And this was the place he was referring to. And so when I was in Brasilia, we hung out, we had a good time. But the day we were planning to go, it rained. And apparently it's not a good place to go to while raining. So that messed up our timeline and I ended up not going. Porto Seguro in Bahia. Now, Bahia is the state where I spent the second most amount of time after Sao Paulo. I saw a lot, but I didn't make it all the way to the south of Bahia, so I didn't see Porto Seguro or Caraíva, so I'll just have to see those next time. Jericoacoara, Ceará. I was in Fortaleza for a week. I almost died twice. Make sure you check out that vlog to see the craziness that happened there. But while I was at the hostel, I met a guy who's living in Jericoacoara, and he is a kite surfing instructor. And he was like, yeah, come on out, I'll give you lessons and all that. So I was planning to go, but I ended up not going because it wasn't on the way to Teresina, which was the next state capital I was trying to visit. So before we get into my top 3, let's take a look at some honorable mentions. Ubatuba, Sao Paulo. I drove by this place like 8 times going between Rio and Sao Paulo, and I just never stopped. And everybody ranted and raved about how good it was, but I just never stopped. Porto das Galinhas in Pernambuco. I went to Recife 3 times. I hung out with my friend. She's from there, and she was like, yeah, when you get a chance, if you like history and culture, go down there. And I didn't. So, yeah. Praia do Pequicero, Tocantins. So when I visited Palmas, I was researching what else there was to do in Tocantins, and I came across this spot that apparently nobody had ever heard of, but every time I researched it, it was like, yeah, this is great, and on Instagram there was all these great pictures, but then I talked to locals and nobody had heard of it, so it made it even more intriguing. But it's really far from Palmas, so I didn't go. Bom Jardim and Nobres and Mato Grosso. The reason I didn't go to these 2 places is because when I arrived in Cuiabá, I was told that, yeah, it's the same as Bonito. And like I said, I had already spent a bunch in Bonito and didn't want to spend a whole bunch to go to Pantanal. And I didn't want to spend the same amount to do what I had just done. So I ended up skipping these 2 locations. Cambará do Sul and Rio Grande do Sul. I was told that this was like the Chapada Diamantina of the South. It's a great jump off location to go on hikes and see waterfalls and do all this great nature stuff. But again, it was like in the middle of nowhere, so I didn't go. Canoa Quebrada in Ceará. Again, I skipped Jerry to go to Teresina, and so I also skipped Canoa for the same reason, because it's on the coast. But I thought I was going to be able to come back to it, and again, after the events of Fortaleza, I was like, nah, I'll go another time. Diamantina in Minas Gerais. After visiting Ouro Preto, BH, and Tiradentes, I was like, wow, I really like Minas. I like this location, I like the food, I like the cachaça. It was recommended to go to Diamantina, but it was like all the way in the north of the state, so I didn't go. All right, so now we're back with the top 3. Cañones de Xingu in Alagoas and Sergipe. When I visited Sergipe, I was in Aracaju with my friend Erica, and she was a great host, and she was the one who told me, like, we gotta go to the canyons, Xingu, and we were gonna go together, but she ended up not being able to get off from work, so I didn't go. Alter do Chão in Amazonas, and you get to it via Santarém. So I didn't visit this because when I was in Manaus, instead of taking the river cruise up, and that's how you pass Santarém and get to Alter do Chão, I ended up going to Roraima. So I didn't even pass that way. So I'll have to catch it on the next Amazon River cruise. Parque Jalapão Tocantins. So like I said, when I was in Palmas, I was researching what to do, and Jalapão was the #1 thing to do in Tocantins, and everybody in my hostel was actually going there. The problem was it was really expensive, and you need to book it ahead of time. And so when I was trying to just show up and do stuff, the prices were outrageous, and I was like, there's no way on earth I'm paying that. So it just ended up on my list. But the more people I talked to, they're like, yeah, you should have went. So I was like, and that's why it's #1. So what did you think of my list? Have you been to these places? What are some other places that you think I haven't been to? Leave a comment below. I'm always taking recommendations. And remember, if you like travel content about cultural immersion and culture shock and learning foreign languages, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Definitely share with your friends, and I will see you guys in the next video.